The concept of God in the Digimon digital universe has always been a very touchy and sensitive topic that made me a bit reluctant to approach. I didn't feel I knew enough about it, and I didn't feel I had enough expertise for it. And it doesn't help that the subject of God in this franchise is much more complex and complicated because it changes throughout the different continuities. And what I wanted to do is to make one big research about the subject and wrap it up in just one video, which would for sure go over 1 hour, but I don't think it would be wise and fair for your time, yes, even if some of you enjoy the videos of longer formats. So I thought, might as well address subject per subject and discuss that thoroughly and with as much precision as possible. In the early stages of the franchise, the idea of humans being the ones who created the Digimon and the digital world was a prominent one, and as such, the very human that created the digital world was thought by some to be the god of the digital world. The 4 holy beasts who protect the digital world and govern its stability by representing each of the 4 cardinal points of the compass have also been subjects for debates. They were one of the first Digimon in history to attain the Mega level and are thus seen as godly beings, but they are ruled over by Angewomon, also called the Emperor that rules the world. Is Angewomon God? Then you have Yggdrasil, the mysterious host computer that rules over the digital world, as well as being the system that manages the digital world. Considering its vast powers, can we call Yggdrasil the god who rules over all? At first I thought that it was the case, until I read about Homeostasis and Homerus, each of them being other security systems of the digital world, albeit one of them governing over another server, so that couldn't be it either. Besides, God as a concept is often associated with angels, and Yggdrasil has its own private army called the Royal Knights, a group of 13 mega-level Holy Knight Digimon that are the digital world's sacred guardians and are famed among Digimon as guardian deities of the computer network. They are each of them holy in their own rights, but they are not angels, aren't they? While the concept of God is and probably will remain complex in the Digimon franchise, and quite frankly it will probably change depending on which continuity we're talking about, many Digimon continuities and stories do point out to one area, the kernel, also known as Heaven or System World or also Realm of God. See, the kernel is the core of the digital world and contains all information about it, both past and future, and is referred to as God's territory, with Angel Digimon protecting it and hiding it from anyone else being able to access it. The area has got to be kept hidden because rumors tell that if something goes wrong there, then the digital world in its whole will collapse. And it doesn't help to know that there are many Digimon out there with abilities so great and with intentions so dark, they would love to get their hands on that place, either for power or for knowledge. That is why the kernel is so heavily secured, and that's also why no one can really access it. This place exists in a higher dimension to that of the digital world itself, and all angel Digimon come from there. All of them. From the archangels like MagnaAngemon, who typically have 8 wings, which is a sign of their rank in the Digimon Angelic hierarchy, and you have also lower ranking angels like Pidmon. And each member in the Digimon Angelic hierarchy has a certain responsibility. To also really assure the protection of the kernel from outside threats, God also projected its sphere of influence via non-angelic beings, those who have never and probably never will get near the kernel. There is Sakuyamon and Kuzuhamon, who both act as agents of God's will. Pharaohmon acted as God's first avatar during the genesis of the digital world, and Shamamon took on the responsibility to listen to the will of God and convey the prophecies to its clan. There are many such examples of non-angelic beings who act under the influence of God. We will discuss them in their own video. Yggdrasil, who we mentioned earlier, has its own private army known as the Royal Knights, and they do whatever they are commanded. God has also its own private army, or maybe better said, the kernel has its own private army called the Angelic Army, also known as Powers. They are a group of Digimon that are emissaries of the kernel. They are a group that preserve the order of the digital world, and each member has its own responsibility and free will. We'll take a look add all of them one by one, starting with the lowest in rank. Pidmon is the lowest angel Digimon as it only has 2 wings, but despite having the lowest rank, its powers must not be taken lightly. Its powers are on par with that of Angemon, an angel Digimon who has 6 wings. Pidmon is a being of perfected virtue and one who destroys evil wielding its holy rod, and destroying evil is what it sure did. In the Digimon Adventure continuity, it is said that in the past, some Pidmon were part of the Angelic Army, and the Piedmont was shown fighting a Digimon, a demon beast with a personality that is the epitome of wickedness. It was summoned from the dark area, otherwise known as the Abyss of Hell, by the Messenger of Darkness. Darcmon is another low-ranking angel Digimon, but one with 4 wings instead of the 2 wings of Piedmont. Darcmon is inspired by, and takes its name from, the 15th century French heroine Joan of Arc, who fought for France in the 100 Years' War against England until the English burned her at the stake as a heretic. Joan of Arc was noted for her deep Christian piety and is now canonized as a saint of the Catholic Church, hence the angel theming of the Digimon. And just like Joan of Arc, Darcmon is as much a warrior. It is stationed as a vanguard soldier among angel Digimon and is referred to as the goddess of the battlefield, in reference to how it always rushed into battles while in the front lines. In the Digimon Frontier continuity, Darcmon affects a kind, caring personality who cries and laments the death of all under its command. It preaches a message of peace, decrying the violent actions of war. As events escalate, however, it urges its followers to fight in the name of peace. But what was weird is that it never actually took part to the fighting. That is because it was revealed that Darcmon wasn't quite itself. In fact, someone else took the appearance of Darcmon and used its authority to get closer to its goals. MagnaAngemon, a demon lord Digimon who is part of the ruling class of the Nightmare Soldiers with the title of Count, and it manages 30 legions of demons. Angemon is another member of the Angelic Army and has 6 shining wings instead of the 4 that Darcmon has. And this angel is said to be a being of perfected virtue, and although it is called a Digimon that brings happiness, when confronting evil it does not stop attacking with extreme composure until the opponent is completely annihilated. Many Angemon were sent from the heavens for various reasons. It can be because the digital world was visited by a crisis, or it may have been to spread the light of virtue across the entire digital world. Some Angemon did that well, others were killed in the process, and some Angemon surprisingly went astray. In the Digimon Cross Wars continuity, there is a sect called the Goddess's Warriors. It is a group consisting of members that worshipped a certain goddess. Only the statue remained though, and an Angemon was said to be the leader of that sect. An Angemon that was later on killed by an Ebimon, but it doesn't change the idea that despite being an angelic being, it still worshipped the statue of a woman which, by the way, looks exactly like a Darcmon but with a more angelic appearance. Darcmon is pretty much the female version of Piedmont, another member of the 7 Demon Lords. In other words, Angemon might pretty much have been worshipping the statue of a demon in disguise. As members of the Angelic Army, Pidmon, Angemon and Darcmon are the lowest in rank. But inside the Angelic Army you also have 2 Archangels, each of which has 8 wings. First, there is MagnaAngemon. Its mission is that of being the digital world's law enforcement officer, and it is responsible for supervising and surveying the many angel Digimon. You would usually see MagnaAngemon in the shape of a priest when it tries to speak for the essence of light, trying to preserve the order of the digital world. However, when there is a danger, and when the digital world is shrouded by the essence of darkness, it changes into its battle mode. The second Archangel is Angelwoman, a Digimon with the appearance of a beautiful woman. Although its personality is extremely gentle, it cannot forgive those who are crooked or evil, and because of the greatness of its abilities, it will fight and won't stay its hand from attacking until the opponent converts. Its soul and power made many believe that Angelwoman is like a goddess of the digital world. But despite the powers of Angelwoman and MagnaAngemon, they are still angels belonging to what is known as the third sphere, the lowest sphere. A sphere consisting of a group of angelic Digimon who are ranked lowest in the angelic hierarchy. Piedmont, Darcmon and Angemon also belong to that sphere and belong to those Digimon who made it into the Angelic Army. But there are other angelic Digimon belonging to the third sphere who did not make it into the army. Archangel Darcmon, who once ruled over death, isn't a member, and for good reasons if you ask me, especially when you consider what it has done. Shakumon, a Digimon who worked for God during the genesis of the digital world, is also not a member, which is a bit of a bummer because it can radiate red laser beams from its eyes that can reach 100,000 degrees Celsius. Why it isn't a member has yet to be discovered, but you're always free to leave your comments in the comment section. And Archangel Lucimon, with its 8 wings, just like Angewomon, MagnaAngemon and normally Darcmon, did also not make it into the army. And it is of no surprise, the Digimon is still a child. I'm wondering what it will do when it grows up. But in general, those who are in a lower sphere are commanded by one who is from a higher sphere. And the higher the sphere a Digimon is in, the more responsibilities it will have. The third sphere is meant for angel Digimon who will work as intermediaries between God and worldly beings. The second sphere acts as the hand of God in its universal plan, and one member of the second sphere commands the Angelic Army. First you have ClavisAngemon, a virtue Digimon and the carrier of the X-Sentai body. Despite being a member of the second sphere, it is still a Digimon you will normally not see fighting in the front line because it has another responsibility, protecting the Zenith Gate between the digital world and the outside world. Only ClavisAngemon knows how to use the key to open it. While it is a Digimon you will mostly see at the background, it does have powerful abilities which could pretty much give an edge to the Angelic Army. It is one who has the ability to seal a target or its attacks and can also unseal a target if it so wishes. ClavisAngemon, along with the rest of the Angel Digimon and the Archangels inside the third sphere, are commanded by the authority Digimon SlashAngemon, otherwise known as GuardiAngemon, in reference to the Guardian Angel. With its appearance that has been greatly enhanced by the presence of blades on its limbs and wings, it cuts through the vanguard in battle. The truth is that it was created in order to battle wicked beings, and as it persists in justice, it does not fear death. SlashAngemon will probably have most chances at winning and will have more chances to guide the Angelic Army to victory because it won't just go to battle just like that. It can always get advice from Rasielmon, an Orphan Digimon of the first sphere who possesses the mysterious power to foresee everything in the world from the kernel and knows all about events throughout the digital world. Rasielmon is also a member of the Angelic Army, but I suspect it will probably only take on the mantle of advisor. But if push really came to shove, SlashAngemon and ClavisAngemon can always call on their ally Dominimon, a Dominion Digimon who isn't part of the Angelic Army and one who does not even answer in any way to the Angelic chain of command and instead acts on its own. However, when an especially threatening enemy appears, it will gladly join forces with ClavisAngemon and SlashAngemon. And the reason for its willingness to join forces has maybe something to do with the fact that it, in some way, longs for its own death. See, Dominimon is a rare type that suddenly manifested via mutation when the balance between the light and darkness of the digital world was disrupted. And while it is almost never sighted, it values all life as collectively more important than its own. Dominimon does not consider its own life especially important, which is why it dares to perform a death-defying attack without hesitation if truly needed. I like to refer to Dominimon because it shows that the Angelic Army, while having core members, still can rely on other angels in case things took a turn for the worse. Dominimon can be called if necessary, but it can also call for the help of lovely Angemon, a warrior angel who descended to Earth with unknown purposes. All that is known is that it excels in close-range combat and contains the data of magical fighters who engage in hand-to-hand combat. You see, a great civilization is easily conquered by outside forces when that same civilization was already destroyed from within. And I can tell you already that the Angelic Army and Angel Digimon in general are already destroyed from within. Dominimon is but an example of how Angel Digimon sometimes walk around with conflicting issues within themselves, and some are sometimes even questioning their very existence. So, Dominimon shows that Angel Digimon are not just following orders without having a second thought, and maybe, just maybe, God tried to suppress all possibilities for Angel Digimon to succumb to temptation. That's why we theorized why all Angel Digimon have their eyes covered. Link towards the video is in the description box. It is that critical thinking that will push some Angel Digimon to, well, to fall from grace, either via mistakes or simply by rebelling. And many of the Digimon that will turn their back against God were already mentioned.